Good morning. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Tea Time with Meru. That's not what this is called, but it's what I'm planning on calling the podcast that I'm planning on starting. Because I have a lot to talk about. Because I have a lot of thoughts and no one to talk to. Because I have severe anxiety and I don't like to force other people to listen to my things, which is why I do it on video. And that's probably why I only get a couple views, because no one gives a shit about my opinion, which is fine. I don't either. No one gives a shit about me, I don't give a shit about me. It's fine. It's fine. No one cares. Anyways, welcome to another week, another Monday, where I rant about the shit I have to deal with every week. It's just fun. It's just great that I have to be alive, just in general. Like, so much has happened this week, but also like not enough for it to be important. I have a little list of things that I have to talk about, because I usually forget. So let's talk about, first, something that I've been dealing with a lot lately, my gender identity. So, as a lot of you know, or probably could realize, as you can see by the flag, I am non-binary. I used to go by they, them pronouns, but I changed them recently to she, they. The fact that I'm non-binary isn't gonna change. I've been changing, like, my gender identity for a while, because I've been looking into myself, like what I am, what I think I am, things just in general, what gender identities fucking are, like what different kind of genders there are. Because when I was little, it's either you're a girl or you're a boy, and then I didn't really feel comfortable as a girl because no one really the girls in when I was little always called me the Cuban equivalent of the dyke word, which is Maria Machete, which is like basically Maria with a machete. I don't know how you guys say like machete, machete. I don't know how you guys say the big thing, knife thing to cut. I don't know how you guys say it in English, but it's a machete, Maria Machete. It's basically Maria with a thing. It's supposed to basically represent a dyke. So since I was little, I've been called that, and I was like, I never understood why. I'm like, I'm just me. Like, what does it matter if I'm not as feminine as everybody else? Apparently, it's because since I was little, I've never been a girl. I was assigned female at birth. That did not mean shit. And in high school, I was like, oh, maybe I'm gender fluid. Because, like, sometimes I want to be a boy, sometimes I want to be a girl. And then as I grew older, I realized that gender is a social construct and it doesn't really matter. Like, so I don't really want to be perceived as a woman. It makes me uncomfortable to be perceived as a woman. I don't want to be perceived as a man either. Men are gross. I just want to be So I'm like, either I could be non-binary or agender, and I'm like, it's not that I just don't have a gender at all. Just my gender expression is a mix of everything, and I wear whatever the hell I want, and I just, don't really care. So I'm like, okay, the non-binary umbrella seems to fit me the best, so I'm just gonna stay with being non-binary. Now the problem comes when not only do I keep misgendering myself, because I forget, like, I'm so used to masking and pretending to be a girl all the time that, like, I don't correct people when people just call me a girl. They're like, oh, you're a girl. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't care, but also it makes me uncomfortable at the same time. It's like a 50-50 of, whatever. I was born a girl, and also, like, kind of don't want to be perceived as a girl. But I don't want to be I don't want to go around just like correcting everyone, because first of all, I can't correct my mom or my family because they barely already understand the fact that I'm bisexual. Not that they're, am I out of the Bible? Like, no, they're religious, but they don't really give a shit about the kind of stuff. They're like, you're gay, whatever. Don't care. As long as you're happy, I don't care. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, you're good. So, like, it was hard for me to, like, explain to them what being bisexual was. Actually, back when I came out, they thought I was pansexual, so I had to explain that to them. They did not understand that the difference between being a pansexual and bisexual. It's a very thin line, but it's very interesting aspect. Like a bisexual person, you are attracted to different genders. That includes, female, male, non-binary, people in the non-binary umbrella, so like agenders, gender fluid, gender non-conforming, trans people. And then being pansexual is like, you don't care about gender, you're mostly about the aesthetic. You're more like, that person looks cool. They're like, oh, that's a girl. It's like, your point? That person looks cool. They're more like, oh, that girl looks cute. It's like, oh, that person's cute. It's like, oh, they're non-binary. It's like, oh, really? That's cool. So like the difference between being bisexual and pansexual is very thin line, and it really depends on the person, what definition they prefer to use. For being bisexual, it's like I'm attracted to different genders, but I do have a preference in gender, which is why I don't consider myself pansexual, because I have a lot more, like, I get pulled more towards feminine presenting, like, like I like men. I hate the fact that I like men, but I like men. Okay, there are some, like Captain America. I find him attractive. Would I fuck him? No. No. Tony Stark. I'd fuck him. I don't know why. I just would. He seems like a fun guy. I don't know. Listen, it's all about the daddy issues in that aspect. But for me, I'm mostly into like more feminine presenting aspects. Like femboys, gender non-conforming men, or like, girls, just girls. And I don't like, being trans is fine, but like being a trans man, I probably wouldn't be as attracted to you, mostly because I don't like men. I don't like men, and trans men are men. I don't like men. So depending on how your personality is, maybe I will. But really, it's just about, for me, it's mostly like the feminine. Like, I'm mostly into like feminine presenting people. Doesn't really have to do like, if you're a guy but you're like, yeah, I'll wear a skirt. Like, oh yeah, like I'm good. Like, you don't have to see yourself as like trans or non-binary or any like that to, be feminine presenting. Like, as long as you take care of, that's what, like, I like K-pop, like male K-pop, like just like Asian, like male Asians in general, because they actually take care of their image, the skin care, hair care, they dress nice, and it's like that. If you can look better than I can, there you go. I am attracted. I don't know how I got to this point in the conversation, honestly. Fuck around with my ADHD. But yeah, lately I've just been really mad at myself for not like addressing my gender identity to other people. Because I do, like, my bios and almost everywhere say she, they, and that I'm non-binary and all that stuff. And it's just, no one really takes me seriously, I guess because I'm very female presenting. I've been female presenting since I was a child. It's just easier for me. Also, my family, my mom, I'm not going to try to explain to my mom, who doesn't speak English at all, what a non-binary person is. I don't even know what the equivalent of non-binary is in Spanish, okay? I'm not even... It took me an hour to explain to my mom what a trans person was. And that's literally just from being, like, one the assigned at birth gender to, like, a different... I'm not gonna try to explain to her what a non-binary person is. And I'm just... you know, I'm over it. So that's why, like, I put the she, they, because I'm like, I might as well don't bother to just change it completely, because my family's still gonna address me as she. It's just when my family, it's just a family that just, I'm not gonna bother trying to get them, because it's never gonna happen. Not because they're disrespectful or anything, just because they just don't get it. And I'm not gonna waste my time trying to explain it to them. They're too old school. It doesn't fucking matter. I barely see them anyways. And my mom, she's already, like, one of the, like, the best mom I could have ever gotten. It's good. Not everything has to be perfect. But for, like, everybody else, I'm just kind of, like, afraid to start asking people to actually address me as, like, she, they, or, like, use the they, them pronouns. Because, like, I don't know, like, I already barely can stand myself, and I already barely believe that anyone likes me anyways. So it's like, if I now have to also force them to respect me in, like, a different way than they have already, then maybe that'll make them not like me. Or, like, if I start just being too butthurt about every time that I get misgender, then people are gonna, start not liking me. They already don't like me. I don't know if it's just, like, my own personal thing with, like, trauma and people. I don't know. Maybe it's really just me. The way that I am, that I don't like to bother other people with my shit. But honestly, if I had the choice to change, to, like, actually be able to do things, I would change my legal name to Alex. And I would just go by they, them. Because that makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel so uncomfortable when I'm perceived as a girl. Like, I dress feminine, I wear cute skirts and cute shirts. I'm wearing a flower crown. That does not mean I want to be perceived as a woman, though. I just don't want to be perceived at all. I want to be a void of nothingness. Like, gender doesn't matter, but it makes me uncomfortable when you perceive me as being one or other gender. Especially a woman, because, like, maybe it's the internalized misogyny, but I don't want to be a woman. I don't like it. I hate it. I wish I could choose to not be a woman. I don't want to be a man, because, like, it's like I want to have both genders at once, but also have none. Like, I wish I could just shapeshift. I just want to be a shapeshifter, where I could just, oh, you want a dick? Here you go. You got a peewee now. Or, hey, you want big ol' tiggle bitties? Tiggle bitties. Or, oh, you want to have titty bitties? Titty bitties. Like, I just wish I could just, like, choose, or, like, I could just, like, detach my bitties, just like pop them out of their sockets and just, you know, choose. Like, I just wish I could. Usually I would just walk around with no gender unless I actually wanted to, like, look a certain way with, like, a dress. I'd be like, oh, this dress would look cuter with tiggle bitties. And, like, especially now when I have, like, terrible body dysmorphia, like, and not the, like, gender, it's not the gender dysphoria. There is a difference. I've seen people confuse dysphoria and dysmorphia. Dysphoria, which can also be called gender dysphoria, is when you see, like, your body and you feel like it's not your body. You feel like, no, this is not the right body. Like, I feel uncomfortable with either, like, my top or my reproductive systems, or just, like, the way that the body looks. Dysmorphia, it's, as you can, like, morph. It's basically your eyes or your brain morphs your body to a different image that you see yourself. So that's why, like, a lot of people with eating disorders have body dysmorphia, especially, like, people with, like, anorexia, because they look at themselves in the mirror and they see themselves as too fat, even though they're extremely skinny. It is a mental disorder. I'm not necessarily body dysmorphia, I'm reverse body dysmorphia. Which, it's not that I see myself as too fat, is that I see myself as too skinny all the time. Doesn't matter, like, it's not easy for me to gain weight, which sucks, because I want to gain weight. I want to be at least 100 pounds. The most I've gotten is 97 pounds. And that was a year ago. And then I've just gone down and worse. And now I'm at 87. So I lost 10 pounds in a year. Which is bad. Because I'm already like physically weak. And just being 87 pounds makes it worse. Because I have like no energy. Not only am I mentally drained, but now I'm also physically drained. And I can't do shit. But when I look at myself in the mirror, like, every time that people are like, oh my god, you're so pretty, I'm like, fucking where? Where am I pretty? I look at myself in the mirror and I see a fucking trash bag. I see the ugliest motherfucker I've ever seen. And, like, sometimes I take pictures of myself with makeup and I'm like, my face is alright. It's not ugly, but it's not, you know, a model status. You know, some are, like, my favorite, when I take a picture and it's good, that is my profile picture everywhere. Like, if you go now to my Instagram and my Twitter and my TikTok, I have the same picture. Because I take one picture that I like and I post it everywhere. Because I'm like, finally, I look mediocre in something. And like, well, I'm like, alright, my face is acceptable. My body is just gross. I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, that's just a skeleton pretending to be a human. It's gross. I don't know if it's just like my body dysmorphia that makes me look at skinny things and think it's gross. This happens a lot in K-pop because there's a lot of like female idols that are like way too fucking skinny in K-pop, and it angers me because like it's unhealthy. Like, I can see them and they're like taller than me, but they're skinny, they're as skinny or skinnier than me, and I'm like, please eat something. Please, I'm begging you, and I am telling myself to eat something, but due to mental health, I don't. But you have no excuse aside from your society being shitty. Yeah, I'm judging Korea's beauty standards. Don't at me. You know I'm right. Korea has very strict beauty standards that are dumb as shit. Like, why would you want a girl that don't have any fucking meat in her bones? Like, I like girls with thighs big enough to choke me, okay? If you cannot choke me in between your thighs, I don't care. I really don't. And it's like you can be the prettiest up here, but if you cannot choke me in between your thighs, probably don't really care. That's why, like, that's why, like, some of my favorite idols just have, like, there are some exceptions, like Momo from Twice. Like, she's very thin. But I think that her muscles, that she has enough, like, muscles in her legs to properly choke me. Just in general. But, like, Jihyo, have you guys seen Jihyo's thighs? That girl has such a beautiful figure. Jihyo is so pretty. Like, it's really hard to see someone as curvy like that in K-pop. Not like in, oh, Asian girls can't be curvy. No, like, I mean, like, in K-pop, because a lot of them are very, very thin. At least second and third gen, they were really thin. Now fourth gen, they're getting a lot more, like, progressive, where the girls don't have to be two fucking chopsticks and a head. Which is very good. Like, I've seen, like, for example, like, Jui from Twice, she has muscle. Like, she's skinny, but she has muscle. Like, you can tell she's toned. Like, Jui can, like, beat the shit out of me with no effort. Like, she wouldn't even break a sweat. She could take down a man, and I love her for it, because she's just like, oh yeah, I am the most beautiful girl you've ever seen, but I will break your bones. Like, no problem. But it's like, yes, ma'am. And, like, I stand that. And Jihyo is, like, one of the curviest girls in K-pop, and you cannot lie. Like, she got tig old bitties, she got great thighs, she got nice hips, like, and she's so pretty and talented. Listen, Jihyo, I don't know how Jihyo is in my bias. I don't choose my bias usually. The bias chooses me. Which is, in Twice, I thought my bias was Nyan. And then Momo was like, oh, that's funny. No. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Guess it's Momo now. which is fine. I love every Twice member. I would fight anyone for any Twice member. I love them so much. Like, they're all bias wreckers. They're all my bias wreckers. Every time any member of Twice shows up, I'm a bias wrecker. They wreck me. And then there are like other like idols like Vivi, who I have as I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but like you can barely see it. Let me see, like it's Vivi. It's a live wallpaper that I made of Vivi from Luna. While I love Luna, I don't really know all their members. I don't care enough to learn all of them. There's too many. There's 12 girls, okay? It took me like 3 months to learn the members of Twice. And there's 9. I know like 5 members of Luna, and it's gonna stay like that for a while because I cannot bring myself to learn all the names. It's one of the reasons why I will never get to NCT because there's 23 NCT members. No. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Not getting into that. And like my favorite members in Luna, I thought it was Chu. I thought my bias was Chu, and then I started seeing a lot of pictures of Vivi, and then Vivi's like, "Oh, really? Choose your bias." That's funny. Vivi's my bias, and if you've seen, Vivi has a really nice figure. Like, if you actually pay attention to her, she has a really nice figure. She's really thin, but she's meaty. Like, she has really nice thighs, really nice hips, a good set of back cushions, and like she has a good set of tickle bitties, and she's just gorgeous. Like, her face is just the only thing you need to figure out that she's the most beautiful woman in existence. But then you zoom out and you're like, yeah, no, she's the most beautiful woman in existence. It's just me. It's just my personal opinion that Vivi's the most beautiful woman in existence. It's just me. But I do believe she's the most beautiful woman in existence. I don't make the rules. I don't know how I ended up talking about Listen, my ADHD sometimes just starts rambling on about bullshit. I don't know how I got to talk about Vivi from Luna when I started talking about my gender identity. I really don't know how I got here. Anyways, I was talking about my body dysmorphia, and I got to talk about K-pop. Wow. Okay, let's roll it back there. Roll it back a little. Anyways, yeah, I've just been dealing with a lot of self-hatred because of my gender identity and how people perceive me, and half of the time is like, I can't really do anything about it, so I just kind of go with it. I have a lot of shit to deal with, and I don't think, like, my gender identity or, like, how people perceive me is, like, at the top 10 of shit that I gotta deal with right now. So, for now, I'm just, like, complaining about it and ranting about it, but I probably gotta keep it in the back burner until it's time for that to be unpacked. Because that's a whole lot of nothing I don't want to deal with. Now, what else did I want to talk about today? So, Twitter has been really interesting lately. I went into Twitter last night just to fuck around. I was bored. And I saw Valka Ray, of all people, cursing in all caps in her official Twitter. And I was like, what happened to make Ray, of all people, curse on main? Cause, like, listen, I don't know Ray that much. I've never met her in person. I don't really know her. I've seen a couple of her streams. Like, I've been watching her since last year, more or less. Like, since, like, late last year, I've started watching her streams. And she's pretty chill. She's usually, like, the calmest, most, like, chill person. She doesn't like to get into drama. She doesn't really give a shit. She just wants to play video games, play with her friends, and chat with her fans, and, like, further her career. She's not in other people's bullshit. And, like, I respect her for that. She's good. Like, she's pretty chill. She doesn't really bother with other people's bullshit. But for her to curse on Maine, something must have happened. And like, she was like, if you're gonna use my picture in your profile like, as your profile picture, like an image of me as your profile picture, and you're gonna go bully other people, I don't fucking delete right now. And I'm like, that made me remember, like, yeah, it's kind of creepy when I'm on, like, Twitter and stuff, or, like, what is it, like, Instagram, and I see, like, people with, like, images of other human beings. Like, I get it if they're, like, a K-pop idol or, like, a singer, kind of, but not really. But, like, you're using pictures of influencers is kind of creepy. Like, if you use anime pictures, like, whatever, it's an anime. It's just an anime. A lot of people fictional characters are fictional characters, you know? But if you're using the picture of a real person to represent you and your opinions, and then when you say something shitty, people put those words that you said with the image of your profile picture, and then they think of that person as saying that. Now, not everyone's gonna do that, because a lot of people are just no conscience, and hey, yeah, that's just a picture, that's not really them. But I just feel creeped out whenever I'm reading something and I see, like, the profile picture, it's like Ray or like Saikuno or like Corpse. I mean, I know Corpse doesn't really never shown his actual face, it's just like drawing, so it's like, whatever, it's just a drawing, not a big deal. But, like, real people, you're, like, even in K-pop, it's kind of creepy when you, like, have a picture of, like, you know, like, RM or Jungkook or, like, like, if it's, like, a meme picture, it's like, alright, whatever, you're just funny, you just want to use, like, a meme picture as your profile, that's fine. But, like, I don't know, it just feels creepy when you're using other people as your own face. Like, I would usually use, like, a little drawing, like a little cartoon if I didn't want to show my face, so I would use, like, an anime. But now I just show my face, because I'm like, if you don't want to show your face, you want to stay anonymous, use like a little, like, avatar. Like, you don't, literally, you can go to, like, any app on your phone, just be like, avatar maker, and make yourself an avatar. There are hundreds of apps to make avatars, but you choose to use somebody else's face as your own. That's just, it's a little sus there, buddy. And then I get people like, oh yeah, but they can be idols or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't change the fact that you're wearing somebody else's face as your own, and you're saying shitty things with somebody else's face, so whatever you say gets brought back to them. And they have no control over that. Listen, if I ever become famous and I see one of you motherfuckers with my face on your profile pic, I will sue you. I don't want anyone with my profile picture on, like, their own, like, with my face on their profile picture, if I did not give you permission to use it. If I'm like, hey, this is the meme, everybody use the same fucking picture, haha, let's troll the internet, like, whatever. And it's like if it's like a meme picture, like, whatever, I'm like, maybe, depends. But usually, like, if I ever become famous, do not, under any circumstances, use my face as your profile picture, because I will rant about it. I will tell everybody to block you. I don't care if you're the best person in the world. I don't care who you are. I do not give permission to any of anyone to use my face as your profile picture. I do not. I don't condone it. I hate it. Don't fucking do it. And that's if I ever become famous, which, seeing how good I'm doing, never gonna fucking happen. Anyways, yeah, turns out they were canceling Toast. Of all people, Toast. They were canceling him for, like, some jokes he made. Like, stop being so fucking sensitive, you snowflakes. Listen, I am considered, like, fucking, what is it, like, zillennial? Because, like, I'm too, like, young to be millennial, but I'm too old to be Gen Z. or whatever, or maybe I am Gen Z. I don't care. I wasn't even born in this country. But because I wasn't born in this country, my mentality of like trigger warnings is completely different. In Cuba, you don't get trigger warnings. Shit happens, you deal with it. That's it. Grow the fuck up. Nothing needs to have a fucking trigger warning on everything. If it's like a medic, like, oh, if I see blood, I pass out. Okay, trigger warning, blood. But if it's something else, like, oh, SA, like, I'm an SA survivor as well. I get triggered when I see things about SA. I know about it. Like, I know if I read stuff about that or see something about that, I'm gonna get triggered. So I either ignore it or take my time processing what I'm reading or watching so that I don't have a trigger, or just look away. I watched a movie with my friends last year that had like images of sexual assault. Like, it didn't go through with it, but it was like, that was like the core kind of like what was going on. I just looked away. I wasn't gonna be like, oh my god, this is so triggering. I'm not gonna let anyone enjoy anything because I'm triggered. Like, no, I'm like, okay, tell me when the scene is over. I just looked away. I started going on my phone, and I'm like, just tell me when the scene's over. And then when the scene is over, they're like, oh, it's over. I look back at the movie, and it's fine. I continue watching them. It was a good movie. It's a pretty interesting movie. It was about like a stalker or some shit. I don't know. But, like, you need to learn. You need to grow the fuck up. If you, oh my god, I'm so triggered. You said the F word. You said the Q slur. You said the M slur. Like, the only slur that, like, I get, the N word, okay, that's a racially based thing. All power to like, my POC people. Take power in that. That's yours. I'm not gonna get in that. That's the N slur. Don't fucking say it unless you're black. That's just, or I don't know, a black person gave you permission to say it, which it's a little sus, but you know, whatever. None of my problem. I have no desire to say the word, so I don't really care. You know, it's like, if you wanna say it, be a dick. You know, I don't know you. I have no control over your life. I don't care. But you know, BLM all the way. But like I understand that. But slurs like, oh, you can't say the word faggot. Okay, it's a word. It's literally a word. And like, oh, you can't say that. It's like, I was called a faggot in high school multiple times because a lot of teenagers don't know the difference between one thing or the other, and they just thought a faggot was in general for any gay person. I was called a dyke. I was called a retard my entire fucking life because I'm slow as hell mentally. But they never bothered to actually, you know, take me to a hospital or like take me to a therapist to be if I was actually retarded. No, they're like, oh yeah, no, you're just dumb. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just believe I'm broken for the rest of my life. I actually don't know if I'm autistic or neurodivergent at all. I just assume I have ADHD because have you heard me rant about bullshit for minutes on end? I've been talking about bullshit for 33 minutes. Like, I don't know what goes up on here. It's just a bunch of bees doing a bunch of shit that I have no control over. I'm like, hey, bees, could you work on the thing you're supposed to? And they're like, no, because we hate you. And that's fine. Like, I think it's the mentality of, like, being born Hispanic and being born in a country where, like, slurs are just normalized. Like, gingers, we legit call them gingers. The ginger. It's like, hey, look, it's the ginger. Habao. I think habao is, like, the equivalent of a ginger. Kind of. I think so. But, like, if you know, like in Cuba, if you know a ginger, 100% of the time, half of the people that know them don't actually know their full name. They just call them the ginger. It's like, hey, did you see what the ginger did? Oh, did you see what the ginger bought yesterday? Did you see the ginger at the party? And they're like, yeah, I saw the ginger at the party. They would literally call you the ginger. If you're fat, your entire family's gonna call you fat. And you'll be like, yeah, I'm the fat guy of the family. Why are you making that face? Because they do. They call me the skinny one. Call me la flaca, which is the skinny one. Hey, la flaca llegó. The skinny one arrived, even though it makes me extremely uncomfortable to be called skinny. But in Spanish, it's like la flaca. It's just a loving way of my family of addressing me. And it's just, normalized. And same with, like, my family is a mix of Chinese and Cuban. I'm very white passing, like, straight up the most white passing in my family. Except, like, my aunt, who's, like, really, really white, but her accent's pretty thick. So, it's not, like, she has you can tell that English isn't her first language. And for me, like, a little bit, depending on how, like, some people say that they don't notice that I have an accent, and some people are like, yeah, you have a pretty, like, noticeable accent. Like, it's not, like, too much, but you can notice it in certain words and, like, the way that you speak. And I'm like, but, like, everyone if you go to a family party here, you will be like, how are you included in these people? Because a lot of my family are either darker skinned and or Asian. And I'm just here like, and they still call me La China, La Chinita. They call me the little Asian girl, even though I have no Asian traits in me. They call me the Chinese girl. But this is my family who are most, like, half, like, my grandma is half Chinese. My great-grandfather was born in China. He moved to Cuba, and there he had 8 children? I don't know. He had, like, a bunch of children. And my grandma was one of them. And my grandma, she's called the Chinese lady. My mom was called the Chinese lady at one point. And then in Cuba, some people called me the Chinese girl. And I'm like, why? Like, it's just because it's a family thing. It just happens. Here, if I walked anywhere and people started calling me the Chinese girl, it would be a slur. Wouldn't it? People will get offended, and everyone's like, oh, you can't address me as my race. In Cuba, we do it all the time, and it's not offensive. So it's not really, I think it's more like an internet, like in the West, not even the West, because Cuba's technically the West, more like an American internet thing, or like a white people thing, or like, I don't know. It's, because it's just really different when you come from a different culture and you have to be involved with these people, and you're like, bro, why are you finding the word queer offensive? People use the word queer as an umbrella term for, like, I know I'm not straight, but I don't have a label as of yet. So I'm just gonna use queer as an umbrella term. It's like, I'm not straight, that's for sure. And, like, that's fine. Like, it's there's a lot of the times that I just don't understand when some things are slurs. Like, maybe it's just because I'm stupid, but I just don't understand when some things are slurs. Because I'm like, it's just a word that doesn't, people called you that to be mean. Doesn't mean you have to keep thinking it. Is it, like, trauma? Because I've been called so many things in my life, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I was called a faggot in high school. I'm like, yeah, I'm a faggot to your point. Was it that obvious? What gave it away? The bob haircut that I have that makes me look like a K-pop boy? That was the point. I wanted to look like a dyke. I wanted to look androgynous. That was the fucking point. Call me a dyke, call me a faggot, call me whatever the fuck you want. That's the fucking point. Like, you're not changing the fact that I am me. Like, you can keep calling me whatever. I've been bullied since I was 4. You think I give a shit what words people throw at me? I don't. Sticks and stone might break my words, but words will never hurt me. Like, yeah, words hurt me, but I move the fuck on. I don't take shit seriously. If I don't take you seriously, it's like, I have self-respect, but I also hate myself. So, like, nothing you can say is gonna be worse than what I tell myself, okay? It's like it's my philosophy is bully yourself to the point where no one can bully you. Just, like, hate yourself to the point where no one can bully you. Like, no one can tell me anything that I haven't told myself. You're telling me I'm worthless? I'm like, yeah, I know I'm worthless. anything better to add to my already demeaning personality? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm dumb as hell. I don't get people. I don't get why people get offended about things. I don't get why people watch things they don't like. Like, people are like, oh, for, like, Yashahime, there were a lot of people like, oh, this is a disgrace of a sequel. Why are you watching it? If you don't like it, why do you keep going? Like, you know you already hate it. Why do you keep watching things you hate? I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. Why you subject yourself to shit that you hate. You have the choice to not. Yet, there you go. It's like people going on, like, AO3 and being like, oh, AO3 needs to be more, you know, fixed because there's child, like, pornography in there. Or, oh, there's, like, rape in there. It's like, yeah, but they're all labeled. Like, you can read what the actual tags are for that thing. And you can read that it says either non-con or mpreg or whatever the hell. You can, they have it clearly there, stated. They're tags. You can read those and know what you're about to get yourself into. And they usually also have trigger warnings in there, you fucking snowflake. But you keep on reading. You're like, oh my god, this triggered me. Like, no shit. You kept reading even though you knew it was going to trigger you, and then you got triggered. Don't be a fucking Karen, okay? Read shit. Fucking read the labels before you buy things. Read the labels before you go through with reading something. This is very prominent in TikTok, where there's a lot of creators, like, adult creators who want to create more mature content, and not necessarily like NSFW, but more mature content, and maybe some NSF like stuff, not necessarily, you know, like that NSF, but, you know, just generally a little bit more mature. And they're like, not like, minors do not, they have like at the beginning like 5 full seconds of minors do not interact, 18 plus only. And you still go to the comments and like, oh, I'm 15 and I watched it. Why do you feel the need to do that? You were literally told this is not for you. You have an entire fucking community of people that make content for you. But the moment a creator wants to make more adult content that's not for you, you feel entitled to everybody's fucking attention to tell them, ha ha ha, you made this for adults, but I'm not an adult and I still watched it. Like, I don't get it. If it's not for you, don't fucking watch it. If you know that it's not for you, why the fuck are you watching it? Like, I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. I don't get people. I don't get people. I don't understand people. Why do people subject themselves to torture? Like, I already have to deal with enough in my life. If I start looking at, I'm watching a TikTok and they start talking about shit that I disagree with, I just scroll. I just go away. I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm not. Cause, like, I know that it's not good for my mental health, so I'm like, I'm not gonna bother. Like, I know I'm gonna get triggered, so I just move away. TikTok is full of stuff like that, and, like, why do people bother? Like, why do you watch stuff that you hate? If you hate it, move on. Fucking scroll away. You don't have to give them, like, if you're watching something that makes you angry, why do you have to give them more exposure by giving them more views and giving them more attention? Scroll away. Any attention is good attention. There's a reason why they say that. Any attention is good attention. If you give them bad attention, that's still attention. You think that someone is problematic, don't give them any attention. I don't know why people find this so hard to, like, grasp. If you hate someone, don't hate watch them. I see a lot of people just, like, with Jeffree Star, he gets millions of views because half of the people actually like him somehow, and the other half are just there to hate on him. And it's like I get some people watch his videos for, like, to make, like, informational videos about, like, what's going on. Those are the ones that I watch. If I want to know what the hell's going on, I watch other people talk about it, because I don't want to give them any views. I watch Angelica Oles talk about all the drama because I don't want to be involved in it. I'm like, I don't know half of these people. I don't want to give them views. They're all problematic as hell. But Angelica Oles just puts it on a neat little video and explains. She's like, yeah, I had to watch the whole thing, and I wanted it, and I hated it. But here's the TLDR of everything that happened. I'm like, there you go. It's like, if you're doing it for, like, your job, like, it's your job to explain things and, like, put things together for informational sake, go ahead and hate watch anything you want. But if you're just there just to hate watch and be a bitch about, oh my god, I hated your video, I don't care. You can type, it's like, oh, I hated your video. Yeah, okay, thanks, you still gave me the views. You still watched. It's like people hating on Lil Nas X because, like, oh, this video is so disgusting. I was like, well, you still gave him the views. He still has millions of views in his video that you're hating on. He still got all the money. You're literally giving him money for hating on him. You're giving him publicity. I didn't really care about Lil Nas. Like, I respected him. He's a really good artist, but I didn't really listen to his music at all because I thought his music was mostly country. I don't like country music. But then I heard of like his music like a little bit on TikTok. I'm like, it's kind of catchy because people were talking about it. So many people were hating on him, and there were other people defending him, and all of that. They always show examples of like the song and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I watched the video and I'm obsessed with the song. Any attention is good attention. People don't get this. If you hate it, don't give it the attention you don't want it to get. It's literally that simple. It's like The Promised Neverland. I read the manga before the anime was even announced. And then like 3 months after I started reading the manga, it was announced that there was an anime. And I'm like, oh, I'm excited, but I'm kind of like, it's like a 50-50 because it's a very interesting anime. It's a very interesting, like, manga story that, like, has, like, every tiny detail has importance in the long run. So it's like, if they omit one part, might cause something in the future to, like, fall down. Like, it might, But the first season, amazing. The first season was really well done compared to, like, how the manga was. It was really well done. I was really happy with how it turned out. The animation was great. The opening song, still a bop. And then season 2 happened. I didn't watch it yet because usually I wait for like 2 or 3 episodes to come out so that like I know like, oh, are people talking good about it? Like, is it good? Because I don't want to like put myself up to like a whole fucking anime just to hate it. And then episode 2 happened and people are like, no, this is not it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna hate watch The Promised Neverland. Like, I really like the manga, so I'm just gonna keep it there. The anime never fucking happened. The anime never happened. And that's how I treat it, because, like, if you don't like it, why are you giving it the time? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe it's just that I'm not all there. But I don't get why. I don't get it. I really don't. Anyways, that's 50 minutes of me talking about shit. I don't know how long my podcasts are gonna be if this is just a regular blog and I talk for 50 minutes. Probably a 2-hour podcast of me talking shit. I'm thinking of like making my podcast like live streams, like just chatting live streams maybe. I don't know. But it's gonna be called like, not really, I don't want to call it like tea time with Meru because I don't drink that much tea. Or like chill chat with Meru. That one's cool. CC with Meru. Chill chat with Meru. That's cute. I'm still thinking of names and stuff, but clearly I have a lot to say about a lot of things, so this is gonna take forever to edit and process, but anyways, don't be an asshole. Be nice to people. Be kind. Don't say the N-word, please. Unless you're black, then go ahead and use it as you want. If you're not black, don't use the N-word. That's what I tried to say. Be nice to people, don't be too triggered on things, Don't be a white savior, also. I don't have time to talk about that, but I can talk about it in my podcast. Don't be a white savior. Just be nice. Just be a nice person. Give your mom a hug if you're in good terms with her. If not, give your best friend a hug. Donate some money to animal shelter or an orphanage. Do orphanages accept donations? I don't know. Give some money to an animal shelter. Give food to the homeless, but don't film it. Just buy some McDonald's and give them some chicken nuggies. You know, don't film it though. That's not. They don't like that. Don't be a dick. Don't do it for the clout. Just do it to be nice. Just do one nice thing. Just one nice thing. That's all. Just do one nice thing. Just be nice. Just be nice to people. I'm gonna go now. I'm tired. Anyways, Meru out. Goodbye.